Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, is Nestlemania. Alongside us for the ride is a man that is always bigger in Japan, JC.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely bigger in Japan. I mean, look at me. That's why we're showing off the muscles today because, you know, JC also makes bank. We're going to be talking about that probably real soon. But Nestlemania, much like your intro right there, not everything goes off perfectly. Sometimes there's a little botch.
Listen,
like that?
Live.
You like that?
We're live, pal.
Yeah.
We're live.
So just make sure you have that same energy when you talk about other people, you know, doing things that are live.
I'm just saying. Listen, I don't care. I saw the video of her doing it in practice. It looked perfect. It was Kyrie's problem, not Sasha Banks' problem.
Wow. Oh, wow. Let's get into it right now. You see the name of the title. This is episode 350. Wow, we've been 350 of these. Holy fuck, that's scary. Yep. New year, new Mone, as Nestle said, and I can't wait to hear him botch a million times. But
Mone.
The artist formerly known as Sasha Banks is now officially back in wrestling as Mercedes Mone, as she debuted at Wrestle Kingdom 17 overnight. And we're recording on a Wednesday this week, Nestlemania. My fault, not Nestle, so you can bring that energy towards me for that. But that gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about this. You know, there's a big show, as it always is. Ospreay Omega match apparently was the greatest thing ever, which that's what the internet tells me. I'm sure it was great, but I haven't watched it yet. My boy Dom had some critiques, which I found interesting, so I'm excited to watch it and excited to also listen to him and Conway break this all down on the New Japan show, because as of this moment, this recording, Conway is dark because he doesn't want to know and he hasn't watched it yet. So they'll have all the hot takes for you there. But we got a little hot takes ourselves, Nestlemania, because we like to cover it all here on the Jobber.
We do like to dip. We like to dip and dive and dodge. We like to dabble, if you will, in wrestling. So I will say this much. Obviously, it was the worst kept secret in the world that Sasha was going to be part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Obviously, you heard the birds talking about Naomi and maybe Bailey being there.
They showed him in the crowd.
So that's a big deal. Obviously, free publicity, I guess, for that.
Yeah, they're all really good friends.
They're all friends, so you know it's all pitter patter, don't matter. So it's fine. I didn't get a chance to see Kyrie's match.
It was short, apparently.
Very short.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mercedes is a star. We know that. We know that she's probably better than anybody in AEW, and we know that she's probably better than most of the women in Japan, if not equal to the people in Japan. I think that's going to be relevant, especially since you made a comment in the Jobber Knocker thread where it's like, this is the first match in Wrestle Kingdom history for the women. So that's a big deal. And like we said, Sasha / Mercedes is a groundbreaker, a record breaker, a history maker. So, you know, if she's going to do it here, this is probably the best place for her. Obviously, we know that she loves the Japanese culture. So that just seems like all these things line up. She took her career in her own hands. You can't hate it. But I will say, for anybody that else, I like to call Sasha on the carpet for a lot of things, but I will say I saw the video of her practicing that new move. Kyrie was the reason that it didn't work correctly. So, and you can blame a little bit of nerves or whatever else, but I think the promo was fine. Presentation was great. The song's nonsense, but you know, that's beside it. There, you know, just like everything else in the world, it sounds like cats in a garbage disposal to me, but you know, it's fine. I still love it. I think it's a great presentation and I'm excited to see what she does. Is she January 11th Paige's partner? We'll find out, I'm sure. But as we say on this podcast, sky's the limit.
Yeah, no, it's obviously this was exactly like you said. It's kind of like the Cody thing last year at WrestleMania. It was the worst kept secret, but it doesn't take away from it being really cool. And for me, what I look at this is obviously it was a cool in the moment. She looked great. Obviously there was, like we talked about, like the little botch on the move, which whatever happens, but they're going to be fighting for that title on, I believe, February 18th at the show. I wrote it down.
It's
Battle in the Valley,
I
I
yeah.
believe it is. But as you pretty much saw, like it seems like Mercedes is definitely going to be involved in New Japan. She's going to be involved with Stardom, which is kind of something that, like, we kind of expected over this past year. We talked about it a little bit, like on the podcast and off the podcast, of that. It seemed like, she's always been someone who's kind of wanted to, like, just kind of do everything, try everything, and really change the game. And obviously, we're pretty spoiled in WWE in terms of women's wrestling, because they already have made their big hurdles with their breakthrough matches and their breakthrough opportunities, and women's wrestling becoming almost equal with the men, if not equal with the men, for the most part. And we've seen that for a few years now, so we're used to it. But if you watch other promotions around the world and stuff, it really doesn't exist that much at all. So I think part of, like, her reason, she'll probably talk about this when she comes out, is that she does want to change the game, not only like for women's wrestling here, but women's wrestling everywhere. And like, as you saw in New Japan, like Kairi and her opponent made history by being that first one or whatever, which led to this debut. Obviously it was a short match, so it's like, extreme progress doesn't happen all at once, but I think it's kind of cool that she's going to get a chance to go on the circuit. She's obviously, like we said, she's a big name. She's, whether you like her or you dislike her, as we've seen anything from the past year, is that no matter what she's doing, or if she's doing nothing, she is trending or on the mind of wrestling fans. And that tells you what she can do for this industry around the world. And I think it's big in different cultures too. We've seen WWE working into the Saudi culture, becoming more normal for women to be doing these types of things. So I think that's an important aspect about this, that, obviously people might talk about eventually, but they're not talking about yet because they're so focused on the debut. And, oh my God, she left WWE. Oh my God, is she going to appear in AEW? Like, all that stuff is cool. But I think the bigger thing here is what the opportunity she's having and the risk that she's taking by going out there and trying to really elevate women's wrestling in general across the world, which I personally think is pretty cool.
Yeah. And our boy Joe Pollock, the Joe Stopper, I question whether or not she can change the game, but I'll pause my hatred for her and give her props for trying to do so. I believe that what the WWE does best is create stars. Now, once you become a star, you, unfortunately for the WWE, can do whatever you want when that free agency comes up, or whatever the dispute is there. So they make you a star, then you can go somewhere else and become an even bigger star, which, Mercedes is harnessing that stardom because she got it from Disney Plus, obviously. And then now she's out the door doing whatever she wants. And, kudos to her for doing it. I think, Joe, I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to hate on her, but I think the realization is, no matter what she does, it's still going to be the first of many in Japan. It's the first of many in AEW. I think she's going to be doing things and leveling everybody up. And
much like she did in WWE. She was a part of all the firsts.
Right. And I think that's an important distinction. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to be the best to ever do it. I just think across the board, we're going to continue, and we joke about Jericho a lot on this podcast, but obviously we're big Jericho guys. I think by the end of Mercedes' career, we will say that Mercedes is in the same conversation as a Jericho. I think Jericho went to Japan. Jericho went to AEW. He went out on a limb and did something different. He continues to reinvent himself. I know that Mercedes Mone is very, very similar to Sasha Banks, but I would like to think that she's going to take creative license here. I think she's going to be able to do a lot more with her creativity and her matches and stuff like that too. So I would be more hopeful, I think, going forward with it. And I think that she definitely will jump over hurdles and obstacles and make these things happen.
Yeah, and I think then a big one there is because, like, people obviously, like you've said, people leave WWE all the time, and they do fairly well for themselves no matter what, because they have the name and can say former WWE. But there's a very small list of people who can go out and actually change the game. Cody Rhodes did it several years ago, and he was like the big one you think about. And look at, it just how much he changed things. I mean, a new company exists partially because of him. And you mentioned Jericho, he's another one. But for the woman, we've seen like people leave and maybe have like some careers and some decent careers in other places, but I think Mercedes is on a very short list with probably the other horsewomen and like those and like upper echelon women, where by taking a chance, by giving up the easy paycheck, stardom, and all that stuff in WWE and taking the risk on yourself, she's one of the few people on a short list that could truly make a lasting impact and kind of change the game and change the narrative on women's wrestling. And that's what I mean by that. It doesn't mean she's going to go out there and like be a belt collector like Kenny Omega and do this and that. I think part of what, just from the little bit that I know about Mercedes, is that she just wants her goal is to wrestle everyone on the planet. She just wants to have different experiences with different people, try different things, and just that's like the biggest goal. And obviously in WWE, she's wrestled a lot of those people. So I think at this point, probably part of the reason why she left was the opportunity to get to, try it on a blank canvas with someone else. Maybe do like the worldwide indie circuit that she never really got to do because she signed with WWE so young. So it's one of those things where it's like it's why it is like the only comparable that really comes to mind is like the type of Cody thing where it was someone who could have easily went back to WWE, would have been on TV pretty much every week, probably would have had like maybe a big title run here or there, but mostly like, just like having like good matches and whatever and be safe. But it was just one of those things. She wanted something different. She's taking a chance now. And I do think that it is pretty cool to see because I think, look it, man, I don't watch much in New Japan. Because it's different. I never have. I'll like tune in here and there if like Dom or someone or you or tell me something to check out. But this was something that I was looking forward to. And it's a name that will draw someone like me into maybe watching this product a little bit too. So it's absolutely no brainer for these other promotions to bring someone in and stuff around her.
And our boy Dom says that Battle in the Valley is built around her, which again, smart move. It's an American. I think
I
it's
wouldn't
New Japan
even know
Strong
it's
show.
in San Jose. Yeah, I think.
And
I wouldn't have even known it
too,
existed if it wasn't for this. So
right, exactly. So I mean, again, the reach is bigger, and I think that was New Japan. We always talk about the Bullet Club with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. That was like as big as New Japan had gotten. Then they left, and it was like just in shambles, and they had to rebuild. But now they're climbing back up. They're doing stuff. So again, it may not get to that stardom, that level that it was at, where everybody was hanging on every word. It seemed like, but I mean, Mercedes is going to do whatever she can. We know Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega now. We can talk about that. Definitely like the World on Fire, or this morning, I guess for us. I've only seen clips and highlights, so I can't necessarily see that I've said or watched the entire thing. I did like the ending with the middle finger and the V trigger, and then the one winged angel. That's fun stuff. I love the table spot for the Shining. Thought that was funny. I fall in love with Wrestle Kingdom a lot of the times because of just the presentation. They go out of their way for the presentation. Fantastic stuff. And I just love it. I love the Gaga. Like, we love the Gaga here.
Yeah, it's a spectacle. It's special. It's obviously like their version of like a WrestleMania for those of you who don't watch it, but it's what makes like a WrestleMania so much more special than every other of the premium live events is that it's that spectacle. It's the grandeur. It's maybe paying off feuds. It's having like the big dream matches. Like Omega Ospreay has been a dream match forever. Like there's not too many of those where you can look on a piece of paper now and like list off your dream matches, like with because a lot of them have happened, but this is one that was on the top of a lot of people's list. I'm not the biggest Omega guy. I think he's amazing. I think he's incredible, but I've become a huge Ospreay guy from what I've been to exposed of him. So like you, I've only seen clips, but I do plan on watching the full match, hopefully later today, like, maybe on my break at work or after work at some point. And I am excited to see it because it's getting rave reviews, and I'm sure it absolutely tore the house down because, I mean, those two, like, they're both incredible performers.
Tommy Hot Take says it was a very good match that was on the verge of being great. So
see, I like that. Dom has a measured approach, unlike most of the internet. So
I think everybody lost their pants. Everybody lost their pants by the time the bell rang, and it's fine.
They wanted to love it before it happened,
right?
But that happens. People are excited.
I think the problem is that if you love it, if you love the idea of it, you're going to love it, and that's fine.
Yes,
but if you don't, you're going to have a different approach when you watch it. So I think it's very important for people to just be respectful of the idea of, like, to me, last year, 2020, we joked, but Cody and Seth Rollins to me was the match. Bar none, hands down, Hell in a Cell. There's nothing that could touch it. You look across the board on Twitter, you look at WWE, you look at BT Sport, you look at Sports Illustrated, everybody said the same thing. So this is obviously the conversation right now. We're 4 days into the new year, but Ospreay and Omega delivered. I think the lead up to it, to me, was better with the press conference and calling them the C word and the whole thing. Like, I love I love when things feel real, and I love the brutality of Japanese wrestling sometimes. So I'll go back and watch it. I can't really discuss whether it's the best match I've seen, so I feel weird saying it's not great, but I'll have to take people's, opinions, I guess.
I mean, we know the ability of both these men. So, like, going in, it's not going to be a bad match. But I think you hit on the big thing because we're big storyline guys. That's why WWE has always been a big part of what we really enjoy the most, as opposed to like maybe like a New Japan. Because like even though you're much more of a like purist than me, but it's just like entertainment and what brings us to the table. And Ospreay and Omega channeled that in their lead up. So it made it feel even bigger. They've channeled it, not even like we talk about the lead up since they booked the match. The lead up for several years, these two have had this like rivalry, like where they take pot. It's the same thing as like if these guys ever wrestle Seth Rollins, it's the same thing. They've been building the storyline for years with each other. So I think that's definitely part of it. And like, yeah, I mean, I have no doubts. I'm going to watch it and be like, that's probably a match of the year contender. But sure. I do still have to watch it, but I mean, obviously, you gotta go in with a grain of salt because you know there are people who are gonna be like, greatest match of all time.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough, but you know, New Japan overall, and the last thing we can say is Jay White shit his pants, and then you know Okada won, so it's fine. I'm sure that's a great match, but unfortunately, everybody's gonna be talking about Mercedes, and they're gonna be talking about Ospreay Omega, which is unfortunate because Okada got his belt back. So it is what it is. But let's kick the gear into the regular part of the show. Let's get shine worthy. Let's get happy. Let's talk about positives. JC, lots to talk about. Let's get into it.
Yeah, you know, obviously, there's a lot to talk about this week. The new year, WWE put on like a pretty decent Raw with some big matches and like exciting stuff, and SmackDown kind of channeled it with like their New Year's Eve more type stuff, and they have another big show for us this week. So I've been I'm kind of stalling here because I didn't really think about what I thought was my favorite part of the week, but because I'm looking at this and I'm like, good match, fun segment. But I mean, I think there's only one place to start. We just talked about one return. I think we have to talk about the other. Charlotte's back. You know, the four horsewomen are always going to be polarizing, whether you love them or hate them. They're the best in the biz. They have been for a long time. There's other people who have like maybe come up to their level or maybe surpassed them, like Bianca. I think that's a fair argument. But I mean, Charlotte's a stud. Always has been a stud. Did she get another little tick on her like notch here on her belt here to get her closer to daddy? Absolutely, by returning and immediately winning the title. But I will say this. Before Charlotte returned and won the title, did we see Ronda Rousey's best match in 2 years with Raquel? Which surprised me because I wouldn't have picked Raquel as her opponent that would bring that out of her. But I was watching that match and I was like, man, that was actually a good match, which is weird because I really haven't felt that way. I thought like Rousey and Liv tried with a lot of stuff, but a lot of it fell flat. And a lot of other Ronda matches have really fallen flat in her return. And like, I kind of feel the same way a lot of other people have. I'm not as anti-Ronda as most, but I was surprised by that match. And I will say like, this was just a good like part of TV, from the title match to Charlotte returning to the surprise challenge and then her winning. Like, I thought that probably was the highlight of the week for me from WWE.
I will say this much. I wrote down in my notes, wow, this was a great match for Raquel. And I think that that's important distinction here because obviously she's the third person in this entire thing that happened. But the crowd really got behind her. She showed off her power. I thought that what I've noticed about Ronda Rousey is she's great when she needs to be in certain situations. But what I've noticed, and maybe it might just be that she was never really somebody that wants to bump. I understand that. I totally get it. Bumping sucks. But when I was watching that match with Raquel, excuse me, it was fun because I felt like, okay, she was taking the bumps. She was doing the stuff. Like she was putting in the effort, which seemed to work well. And the first time they tangled, I think when Raquel showed up, it was like the first match they did like a whole thing and it was a big deal. And it was, I think we said it was good too. So there's good chemistry there, you know, and it was believable. It wasn't just hokey. You know, she has a little bit of Braun Strowman obviously in her. You can take that joke anyway. Yeah, inner. You know, are you in? And then, you know, but she's got like a monstery kind of feel to her sometimes when she needs to. And I think she does a really great job. I loved her in NXT and then she coasted and it bothered the fuck out of me. So I disowned her, but she deserves
and then she got called up one time. She won the title, got called up. So yeah.
But the crowd was behind her. I think the suck part was that the ending was fucked. Like I don't understand the whole idea of that whole thing. So I think that was difficult for me. And then here's the thing. Everybody gives a shit about Charlotte showing up, but here's my thought process. I think Ronda Rousey hasn't done a very good job. I really don't. And I think Shayna and Ronda with the tag titles to me are way more interesting and way more fun going forward, because then she can be with her bud. She can have the pressure's off. She can go have fun. She can go do stuff that she wants to do. She can put over other women that she can, you know, when she wants to. It's not this like pressure she can't lose. You know what I mean?
Shayna
Like,
can lose for her.
Shayna can lose for her, but it's just. But the thing is like, I think Ronda's done what Ronda wants to do at this point. So it's just like, let's let her have some fun. And I think Charlotte, like, yeah, obviously she's 14-time champion and everybody's rolling their eyes and stuff. But I think it's a good thing because I think Charlotte's a better wrestler. Charlotte puts on better matches. Charlotte
champion.
She's a better champion. She's better than everybody else on the roster. Now that, Mercedes is gone, the wrestler that everybody wants to watch, in my opinion, was Mercedes for a while in the women's division. I think Damage Control is kind of So it's just like
there's only one other person I put on her level.
Belair.
She has the title on the other show.
Yeah.
And we can get into a bunch of scenarios for that now or at a later date, but I still think that's the money match at WrestleMania. But obviously now they both have titles, so it's either you unify them or, I mean, would you be shocked if Rousey won this title back at the Royal Rumble and then Charlotte entered the Rumble and won it and challenged Bianca at WrestleMania? None of that shit would surprise me, man.
No,
So
it's just we're getting to a point where it's just ridiculous with like this hot potato hodgepodge stuff sometimes. So Joe Pollock, Pop Don't Lie, whether you like it or not, or you hate the shoveler, the crowd reaction was nuts. Again, I agree.
She always garners a reaction.
Yeah, she gets a reaction.
She's polarizing.
The other thing too is that theme song was worse than Mercedes. That one felt like I was listening to a garbage disposal going off. I thought I was listening to an MRI machine. It was just like, it didn't make any, it was like somebody for the very first time learning how to use an audio program. It was like, here's a song, dun, 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 pause, new music, random transition. It didn't make no sense. It just sounded like absolute hot garbage to me. So the music department needs to fucking work on that, especially if she's a big fucking deal. That music is going to fucking just drive me insane-o. But that's beside the point. Moving on to something that I thought was really, really cool, at least for me, and I wanted to make sure this was known. Again, for the second week in a row, Raw starts out boom, hot. Right out of the chute, they cut off the open, Bloodline takeover, KO fighting, the whole Raw coming out and just the whole roster beating up on the Bloodline. Then backstage, they kind of screw it up with Elias having a match with Solo and then a 6-man tag. And I went, oh, well.
Elias Solo match was actually pretty good, though.
Here's the thing, right? I will put this in the shine because everybody else will shit on me because I hate themed everything. I do.
You do, but this match was awesome.
But this match, street fight wise, was a little hokey, but the ending with the piano, folks, just watching the spinning solo on the piano made me go, that's a fucking bump right there. That's a fucking bump. And I was excited to see it. Again, didn't really love the Hardy thing, but again, I don't really know Hardy, but obviously they're moving it in for Nashville / social media moment for the Royal Rumble. I get it. It gets views. It's not for me. And that's okay. But I will say, we don't like Elias on this program. Well, we respect him, but we don't like his wrestling, I guess is what I should really say.
Yeah.
But Solo has been doing a lot of good stuff.
On Friday too, he had a banger with Sheamus.
A banger.
2 matches, 2 good matches this week.
2-match solo. This guy is just should be.
He didn't have a solo match. He had a double solo match.
A Dolo solo.
Dolo
solo.
We're making up words.
I know. My brain don't work. So again, anything else that you have that's shine worthy, or would you like to get more heat?
In sticking with the match theme, I did really enjoy Theory and Seth. These two have good chemistry. You know it was going to be a good match. That's why I ended the show. It gave Theory that big win over Seth. Hopefully Seth is okay. We don't know if he's actually hurt or not. Nothing's really been released, but he did tweet out his mantra, which got the internet all hot and bothered too. The redesign, rebuild, reclaim, or whatever the hell it is. So hopefully Seth is okay. But I mean, these two, this is the win. We knew Theory needed it. He needed kind of like a stamp as we're trying to get past this Money in the Bank thing. Long U.S. title run right now benefits him a lot, hopefully leading to a match with Cena at WrestleMania like we are all hoping for. We don't know, but I enjoyed that match.
I thought it was good too. You don't want to see anybody get a bad wheel. I kind of cringed when I saw him the springboard knee. I thought to myself, he hurt his knee. And then, of course, there was another suicide dive thing that happened. And I'm like, oh, God, this guy's reckless. I love it. But it's also very dangerous with what they do. So hopefully him and AJ have a speedy recovery. I know AJ's out for a couple months. That blows too. But we've talked about that on the Jobber Knocker thread where AJ Styles needs to break away from the OC as quickly as possible. So having him put on mute for a couple of months is okay, I think, in my opinion. But Seth is so red hot, and Cody coming back and it being WrestleMania season, it just feels like the worst time to lose Seth Rollins if that happens, because that guy has been doing some of his best work in the last couple of years. and he deserves everything he gets. He's so good. He's so good to watch. And I just want to reiterate that he's on another level. He's just on another level. Moving on, I want to talk about something very specific to me that kind of made me kind of laugh, but something that also was something very exciting. Top Dollar getting made fun of.
That was a good segment.
That was a good segment. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Paducah, Kentucky coming up there and trying to be funny, but that's okay.
Hey, you leave Paducah, Kentucky alone. He's a fucking stud.
He's
going to be the first man entered in the Royal Rumble after Friday.
I hope so.
When he puts Top Dollar correctly over the top rope.
I was going to say, is Top Dollar going to have a hilarious spot in the Royal Rumble where he just falls over?
I mean, hey, who knows if he's even in it? But I will say this is because Top Dollar gets a lot of shit. Some of it's deservedly show. He's clearly a guy. He's a big internet guy, which some people are. Like we see it. Some wrestlers just love being on the internet. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. For a lot of people, it works. Zack Ryder freaking made a career of it before it was even a big internet thing. So it's smart, but it's one of those things. It's like, especially when you're a guy that big. You have to be comfortable with being the butt of a joke. But I think that what separates him and why he's a guy who could last a long time more than some other big guys that have had unfortunate things is that he seems to be a guy that he can be willing to be the butt of a joke and be and take the criticism like that. And yeah, sure. Like anyone else. So he's very outspoken on the internet. So he's going to have his things to say, but I think he also I think he's always shown a little bit of grace too. Cause this isn't the first time the internet's gone after him. He's always going to be a target. Cause when you run your mouth, you're a target. He's not my favorite guy in the world, but I know why he has a job and I understand it. And I think there is still a chance that Hit Row could be diamonds down there somewhere if you can figure it out. It's just not there yet. But it's one of those things. It's like people can say what they want of oh, they've been a disappointment, this and that. It's like, how many disappointments do you see that are consistently on TV every week getting multiple segments? So there is something there with them. There is a belief there with them. And you know what? It's one of those things. He put out that diss track on Ricochet and it was absolute fucking trash. But you know what? I will never fault someone for trying to do something, no matter how bad it is. If he misses a million in a row, then yeah, sure, get out of here. But this one didn't work. And you know what? It's one of those things where Ricochet, since Triple H has took over, has really been one of the guys that I would put has really they've made an effort to because they know how special he is to just push him up to the moon and just kind of work with the things that you like to pick on him for. It doesn't seem to matter. He's like a baby face that gets away with it. So it is funny that they made a segment out of it. It was a very good segment. It involved the male models and a bunch of other people. So I thought that was done well. And I thought everyone did their job the way they should.
I tend to agree. And I think my whole thing is we know Hit Row as baby faces is not working right now. Yeah. Everybody can agree on that. But I think the issue is when it doesn't work, now they're taking a moment, the flop, essentially, Flop Dollar, and they're making him a heel and they're hoping to switch it. And I think that's the most important distinction is, and this is why I want people to remember, it's a lot harder to be a cool baby face out of the gate than to be a heel, cool, and then switch to a baby.
Look at Dom Mysterio.
Right. And that's my next
Prison Dom.
So I mean, so very quickly before we get to that, that's the equation. It didn't work. Make them heels, and then they're going to be cool. And a year from now, we're going to say they're the best thing, non-wrestling related, I'm sure, down the line. You know what I mean? Because they were in NXT where you're oh, this is an act. This is a great act. And they can be. So obviously they're not affiliates, but they'll get there. They'll get there. Moving on to Prison Dom. I could not partake in enough of Prison Dom. For a guy who here's the thing. For a guy who lacks creativity in the ring, for a guy who probably should work out more and be probably more of a body guy, who just looks like and I know it pot meet kettle, right? So I'm a string bean and I look like, an emaciated person. But when I see Dom and I'm he's got tattoos on, it's hard to keep just track of all the shit that goes wrong with him.
The mullet, it's so good.
The mullet's just another, but then the toothpick had me. I started dying. And the fact that he was probably in prison for all of an hour, probably, and how it changed him. What a great idea. If he comes out saying now that he's hard or something, he's you know what I mean?
Mommy.
Hard. If he starts saying oh man, I got, and he had the fucking the teardrop tattoo. There's so many little things he's doing that are working. And I think Finn Balor said it best. We thought we were going to take him under our wing, and this guy's just a heat magnet. We love it. It's easy. It's just easy with him. So he has a place. He has a place at the table. Doesn't necessarily be the head of the table, but he definitely has, you know, even if it's a kiddie table, it still works for him. So he's doing what he can. The acting's a little rough sometimes.
I think that
But
honestly, it
it's part
elevates
of
it
it.
for me. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. It's like, what makes a good heel? It isn't always that they're like Randy Orton was a different thing because everything he did was believable as an asshole. Most heels, you kind of can see through it. So you kind of need a little bit of like, I call it the Miz or the Jericho, like just a little bit of like, not so much goofiness, but the little bit of like ridiculousness. And Dom has channeled that in this turn. And I will say this, because look we know this Dom Ray match is happening at some point. It's been rumored for WrestleMania for like 3 years. If I'm finally looking at it now, and with these little like placeholders along the way, but also separating them on different shows to kind of keep it fresh, it's like if they do Ray Dom at WrestleMania this year, it'll probably be one of the matches I'm most excited for because the Dom character has just. And Prison Dom is one of my favorite characters in wrestling right now, which is insane with how we talked about him like over the summer, like and before how stale he was and how quickly it turned because they figured it out. And like Rhea's been a big part of that. Finn and Priest have added to it. Ray did his part, all the stuff along the way, just like it's working. And it's one of those things where it's like, man, in a couple months, if they really do this feud, they finally did it right. They did Ray and Dom right, the father-son thing. Like, it's going to be cool, like the Thanksgiving segments, the Christmas segments. It's like, they're easy, but they're working.
Don't forget, we still have Valentine's Day.
100%.
Right?
He brings mommy. I got engaged to mommy.
Yeah, they disrupt the restaurant dinner for Ray and his wife, and they're like, sorry, this is a couple's dinner. And they just go, start a brawl in a restaurant, like shit like that. Like, you're getting to a point where it's just like, it's happening. And it's so like, I cannot believe that we were so wrong. You know what I mean? Like you watch, well, maybe we weren't wrong, but maybe we weren't.
I think we both
weren't open to the idea.
And we just kept saying, make him a heel, make him a heel. It's the only chance this kid's gonna have, make him a heel. Same thing we're kind of saying about Hit Row right now.
Yeah, make him.
That's what we mean. It's one of those, it's like, these people are there for a reason. There's a talent. And obviously with Dom, it's like mostly because of his name, but he's so young, but it's like, sometimes it just takes a while to find it. If you look back, like, I mean, The Rock's a perfect example. Like when you start off with gimmicks, even Steve Austin, just like, it's not all there from day one. That's why with NXT it's cool because you get to see the changes, but it's just like it's not always there from day one. Sometimes it takes a little work. Sometimes it takes a complete facelift, like what happened with Dom. But yeah, it's like there's always talent there, and WWE is always good at eventually finding it.
Anything else, or would you like to get heaty?
Oh, we can get heaty.
Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. There's a lot to digest.
Let's go. Hit me with him. Quick heats. Boom.
All right, so we'll start on SmackDown so I can be like chronological. Uncle Howdy, it's a thing.
I really like Bray in LA Knight until Uncle Howdy comes out. It's something about it's like it's too hokey, but I'm willing to let it see how this goes.
I think people are worried that it's bro Dallas. It might as well be Bro Dallas. Bro. It might be Bo Dallas. It might be Vincent. It might be. I think some people said Cameron Grimes. I mean, it's probably Bo Dallas, but that's okay. I'm confused. And I'll have something in my hope later about what I think it may end up happening here. I'm not necessarily, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I know the mask changed, it seemed. Or if there's two different sides, I don't know if it's Uncle Howdy and Uncle Harper yet. Like, I don't know what exactly is going on. I feel like the communication to the audience is a little off here. Like, I know the people in the segments understand what's going on. But I feel like as in terms of Michael Cole and, Wade Barrett, there needs to be a communication to us as fans. Because I'm not that they need to know what's going on, but they clearly know more than we do. It's supposedly because that's what the script says. So I don't know. It's falling a little bit behind. So I'm like I kind of want to rush to the blackout match and see what happens. And then sponsored by Mountain Dew. So
I have a question.
Yes.
Because when I hear blackout match, does that mean we're gonna have a match? Is it gonna be like AEW Dark? It's just they tape it in the dark. No one sees it.
I think I would like to think that it's literally in the dark. Like there's none to be lights off. Oh yeah, I tend to agree it's ridiculous, but
is this going to be better or worse than the Worms?
Oh,
because it could be worse.
I think better. I think better.
So too, but there's a chance for real disaster here too.
It's funny.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like the Worms from WrestleMania, I give them credit for trying something different.
I agree with that.
So, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it was something you remember. For bad or for worse, or
that is a true statement.
Moving on, Drew McIntyre's back. That's all I got. He's just back. He's got a tag team title match with Sheamus, you son of a bitch. Next week on SmackDown, or I guess a couple days from now. Usos
Here's
better
one of my
fucking
New
win.
Year's resolutions in WrestleMania right here. I'm going to try not to shit on Drew McIntyre as much. So by doing that, I have no comment at this time.
I love where your head's at, and because you won't, I will. What a waste of time. What a fucking, like, give me something new. Give me an evolution. Give me something. Because Drew McIntyre, now if Seth Rollins is out, Drew McIntyre is the guy that has to either dethrone Roman Reigns or win the championship soon. Drew McIntyre.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Oh.
No, I'm saying he has to win one of them. I'm not saying he's winning the other one. Personally, I don't want Cody Rhodes winning the stupid Universal Championship. I want Cody Rhodes to win the WWE Championship because that's what his daddy wanted. But that's beside the point.
I'd rather have The Rock win than Drew McIntyre, and I don't want The Rock to win it.
If you smell what the Mac,
but yeah, we need to move on before I say something negative about Drew McIntyre. New year, new JC. Try not to shit on Drew McIntyre.
And just like a month later, you'll shit right on him. Just like
I know,
everybody else.
because like most New Year's resolutions, they break after January.
Yeah, exactly. Just like a gym membership. Moving on, Alexa Bliss and Belair. They get style points for stealing scary movie spots.
I love that because as someone who was a big scary movie fan as a kid, I absolutely fucking adored those first couple.
Yeah,
I popped out of my seat.
Thought it was good. A long segment. They did a great, like we talked about previously before we started recording. The only way they could end it is by not having anything in a schmoz. The glitch happens. She beats up a referee. Then she bloodies Bianca Belair. I'm interested to see where it goes. I have more on this, like I said, in my my hope for Bliss, but there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do.
Yeah, we knew this was a setup match. So
Bertsky, new year, new JC. I'm here for it. Look, so you didn't like the old JC Bertsky, is what you're saying?
No, you did. I'm just a more enhanced version of the already perfect.
Show him
JC.
your flex. That's where you're enhancing. There you go. There you go. He just got his back cracked too by
I feel the best I have felt in weeks. Shout out Backcracker.
Yeah, well, he's a real turd, isn't he? Anyway,
he's a real good chiropractor though.
Not so great on the stick. Anyway, let's moving on. So is there anything else that you want to talk about? Because I'm looking at this going the 6-man with the bloodline. Duh. Here's the other thing. I should have put this in the shine. Dexter Lumis and Gable surprisingly forgot that Lumis could wrestle. And when
third time you've said this since the new year.
But I keep thinking to myself, here's a guy who's saddled with a gimmick who I don't think can wrestle. And then I see him, and it might have been Gable, and that's fine.
It doesn't matter. We said the same thing when he wrestled The Miz.
Yeah.
Both times. He might have wrestled someone else. So I think I'd just put on the carpet. New year, new JC and Nestlemania. We were wrong about Dexter Lumis. He can wrestle. He's not an Elias.
He's not. Boom. I think he has some shelf life here. Yep. I really do.
He's already a fan favorite. So
not going to set the world on fire, but God damn it, is he going to be a good hand? You know what I mean? Like, and that's no disrespect to him whatsoever, but I just wanted to say.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that he's Mae Young and Mark Henry's kid, all grown up? The hand evolved into Dexter Lumis? Nestle, you just broke some serious news. You better tweet that out immediately.
Okay,
get credit before Meltzer steals it.
5 flames instead of 5 stars here on this program. Something else that I just can't do is Damage Control versus Becky Lynch and Michin. I thought that was the absolute drizzling shits. From the promo to the fun. I mean, the ending was cool that sorry, my brain's not working. Dakota Kai and what the hell's her name? Io Sky. They won with an awesome finish, I thought, especially up the whole thing, which was great. But the rest of the match was like Michin. They try to get over Michin again. It's like they stopped and they tried it again. And Becky Lynch was like, I'm fine. I don't need any help. And then she gets help. And the whole thing seems super convoluted to me. And I just can't do it. I just can't watch it.
The reason why it bothers me is we finally got like the Becky Bailey like payoff match, and yet Becky's still running around with these goons, and we still have no actual contenders for these women tag titles. Like, that's why it's one of those things. Like, when I saw Ronda lose, the first thing I thought of, like, he was like, oh my God, have Ronda and Shayna win the titles on Monday because Damage Control are fucking terrible champions. Even though I love them both individually, terrible champions. They do nothing. It's like Ronda and Shayna could parade those things out every week and just fucking beat the shit out of people. It'd be like fucking Nia Payne or whatever the fuck they call
Nia Payne, Shania Payne.
What the hell? What's their name again?
Shania Payne.
What was their actual name though?
Oh, I
Ryan
don't remember.
That name. It wasn't Samoan Slaughterhouse. That was Nia Jackson.
I was just about to say Samoan Slaughterhouse is the best tag team name of
It
all
was
time.
so good.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but no,
I miss
do
Nia
something with the
Jax.
women's tag titles. Enough is enough. It's like at least they won. Thank God Becky didn't pin them 1-on-2. That was my worst fear. But yeah, I don't give a fuck about this.
And very quickly, I just want to sneak in some NXT because I watched it last night. Braun Breaker, what a terrible actor in that Waller Effect segment. You know, he's Goldberg.
Yeah, not even Waller could save that shit. Are we done with the heat? Because I can transition.
Yeah, go right to the.
Glorious, you're my only hope. Next week, Braun Breaker versus Grayson Waller. It's time to make Grayson Waller your new NXT champion. I don't know if I've hoped for this before, but if I have, too fucking bad. You're getting it again because it needs to happen. Braun Breaker, it just like it is what it is. It's hard to be a babyface, like we said, but it's time, man. Grayson Waller's the guy. He couldn't save that segment, but he can save NXT. Him running around like an asshole for like a year with that title would be fucking glorious. They can get him some help and some heavies or whatever that they want to do for that. Doesn't matter to me. It is time, man, because that guy is the star of the show. He's been the star of the show. Braun's fine. He's great. He's going to be good. He's proven us wrong in the ring. He's already there. He's probably going to be in the Rumble. Get it over with next week. New Year's Evil. Make the Evil Man the champ. Pay off your Iron Survivor winner and do it. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. Hashtag Grayson Waller is NXT.
All right, then. I think Carmelo's the guy, but that's just me.
Also, Bert tweeted at us. The video of him throwing the fan mail in the trash was fucking incredible. I fucking loved that. It's just every week Grayson Waller posts some stupid video on the internet that makes me laugh out loud. He is so fucking good. Give him the fucking title so he can throw more fan mail in the trash.
He has like a very much like an old school, like I'm dating myself here, but there used to be like old cartoons with Rocky and Bullwinkle where like people would tie somebody to the railroad tracks and like wait for something to happen. Like he has that kind of like shit.
He's
like
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, he's just like like he's got.
He never wins though, so that's the problem. We gotta flip that narrative.
Yeah, flip that script, baby. Like I said, I still think it's Mello, but if it's Grayson Waller, I'll shit my pants.
Mello beating Grayson Waller would be fine for me. So
yeah, I don't know. The thing is Grayson Waller. I'm looking at it like they're saving the big one for Vengeance Day in a couple of months. Well, I guess it's a couple of weeks.
See, I think if Breaker isn't losing it now, I think he loses it to Mello
at Vengeance Day.
At Vengeance Day or at the WrestleMania show.
Okay.
And then Braun can come up the next night or whatever.
Fair enough. My hope, as I've teased this a little bit too much, I was thinking more about Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. We keep seeing that they're tangled together. We have a lot to think about going forward for the Royal Rumble. Here's what I would like to do if I was booking the Royal Rumble here, folks. I would have Bianca and Bliss go out first. Not first, but before the lights out thing happens. I would have a street fight-ish kind of thing going on here with them or some type of chicanery going on. Maybe a last woman standing or something. I don't know. But what I would like to see here is Alexa lose again, freak out, and just start to annihilate Belair after the bell, even if that's a thing, right? So we get that whole like she's tweaked out to a point where she's just lost it. She's gonna psychopath go through it. Then we get to the lights out match, right? And we know there's gonna be all sorts of spooky shit, right? So it's gonna be Gaga City. What I want to see here is all the iterations of Wyatt, all the puppets going in different things in different spots, doing whatever. And then we finally, boom, we get the reveal. There's Alexa in her dark outfit or her Playhouse outfit or whatever. And she's a fully back and she helps Bray Wyatt overcome maybe Uncle Howdy and LA Knight and the whole shebang. And then that way they're back together. We can go to the horses on that one and we can run with it because I think once LA Knight loses, we need something else to sink our teeth into here. And I think Bliss trying to help Bray Wyatt against Uncle Howdy and other people that are going to come out of him in his own brain or something seems very interesting to me. But I think that lights out match has to have Bliss involved in order to get to the next chapter. And that's where I'm focused on here when I'm watching it because she's compelling. She's great. But I will say this much. Alexa Bliss does not need to wrestle anymore. She should just hang up the boots. She's way too valuable on the microphone. She can be a host. She can be a manager, commentary. She can do anything. She can wrestle. She's good at it. But when I watched this match with Belair, folks, all I saw was her trying to protect her head. And I get it. I understand that part. But don't hurt yourself anymore. You have a stud husband who can just help you out in everything ever in life because he's wonderful. And you're also amazing at what you do. You don't need to wrestle anymore. You can do so much more.
What if she wants to wrestle?
Maybe she does, but I think she's doing herself a disservice by continuing to wrestle because it's starting to show that it's like cringe worthy when she's doing certain things to protect herself. It doesn't come off as good, in my opinion. She can be all these other things and she can still contribute in a lot of ways, but I'm not excited for a wrestling match with Alexa Bliss anymore. I'm just not. But I am excited when she talks. I am excited when she acts. I'm very interested in her. I'm not interested in the wrestler anymore. So that's my thought. But that's my hope. I want to see more with Bray and Alexa going forward. And I think the lights out match is where we light the fuse.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. It has to be because it felt like we took a big step forwards, not only in the Bray part on SmackDown, but the Alexa part on Monday. So I do expect a big payoffs in the coming weeks and at the Rumble.
And our boy Jay, see, I can't talk today. I'm sorry. Our boy Joe says, we haven't seen the puppets since Bray has come back. We have not. So I would imagine this is a great point because technically this would be his first advertised match, quote unquote. So I would see maybe this is a good chance to kind of do all the chicanery that we talk about.
Yeah, like you said, I am. I don't know how I feel about the lights out, black light, whatever the hell it call it.
Black light. What do we want?
I hope it's not a black light match. You do that in a freaking wrestling arena. God knows what you're gonna see.
What was that? What was that MTV dating show where they went into people's houses? Room Raiders with the black light. That was like you were waiting for that black light to come out.
Room Raiders was the second best show. The best one was Next.
My favorite.
Someone walks on the bus. Next.
Yep, Next. Exactly. I that and then the other one was Parental Control, where the parents got the pick. Those three shows were just guilty pleasures of mine. And I knew I worked with a girl, right? I worked with a girl in retail. She was great. Her name was Jenny. She was great. And then she just left and I didn't know where she went. She was like, "Oh, I'm going to California to be on TV." I was like, "Okay, great." And I clicked and there she was on Parental Control. And I went, "No way. Great. You did it." That's probably the only thing she's done, but God damn it was funny.
If you had to be on one of those three shows, which one would you choose?
Well, I don't need to date. So I would.
No, but if you were like 13-year-old Adam.
Oh,
well,
next would hurt my feelings, so definitely
not.
Yeah,
you'd step at the boss next.
No, look at me. I'm a total pie face. There's no way I'm getting to the end.
You saw people going in your room when you were 18? Is it going to be Batman posters and what else?
Here's the thing. And this is why it's going to make you laugh because you know me. I think me talking and me representing myself is far worse than what my room could say. I probably have a better chance of getting like 13-year-old to 18-year-old Adam would have a better chance of pulling somebody when they haven't met me. So there you go. Tell me the lie. Tell me the lie.
I can't.
Right?
I can't.
And who the fuck is Adam? Moving on. Comeback City. It's time to get comebacky here, folks. I'm going to give my comeback to yeah.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about this.
Stana and his bald spot, which apparently has taken over the internet. Poor guy. For those of you, Ben, who couldn't get excited about John Cena. I mean, Jesus Christ, did you hear the crowd? You know, it's like
Cena is like the ultimate insert pop here. Yeah. He
just lights the candle and there we are. But I kept, when I was watching him, like, of course it's a tag match. They're going to milk this fucking hot tag. He's not doing anything until the end. And sure enough, bumped off the apron like 6 times. And then, of course, they did the ending and he won. I'm surprised, and I'll be curious to see what happens with Sami Zayn now that he took the L, and now Roman Reigns has to deal with that.
Roman Reigns' first L in over 2 years, too, technically.
Technically, by association, he did lose. Yes, he did not get pinned, but put KO in a very pretty spot in that whole thing, and I think that was great. Obviously, busted eye, whether you say it's Roman Reigns or if it was Sami Zayn. I think it was a Sami Zayn punch, but that's beside the point. It's good storytelling, good stuff. And then he did good stuff on Raw with the continuation of that. So, but again, John Cena is just he's just one of one. He's such a stud. He's got such a great presence about him. I will say this much, because I have to be fair, because I give a lot of shit to Johnny Gargano. I watched that tag match and I went, did he go to the Gargano School of Acting? Like, he is sitting there for the hot tag, and he's
mean he acted like a babyface on the apron?
No, he didn't just
act
Gargano's
like a the first guy to ever do that.
He acted like a cartoon buffoon, but it's John Cena. It's John Cena, right? You expect Mr. Hustle, loyalty, and respect to do some boing flip stuff, right? Whatever. It's just nonsense. But anyway, John Cena, good to see you. Come back as much as you want because I fucking love him. He's so
WrestleMania
funny.
against Theory. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's have that match. Let's get it over with. And I believe your comeback is next, sir.
My comeback is next, and like the title says, New Year, New Mone. It's going to Mercedes Mone, debuting at Wrestle Kingdom 17. Has her first match already booked. I'm excited for this run. I'm excited to see what the future holds, where she shows up, what she does, what the future holds. It's exciting, man. It's exciting for wrestling. This is, like I said, like there's not too many people who just leave wrestling and they like do nothing and are a topic of conversation almost every day. She's a special talent. She's an absolute stud everywhere. No matter where she goes, she's going to be a stud. She's going to make some history, which I think is cool. Bring eyeballs to a lot of places. All the shit we hit on earlier, man. This was special, and there was nobody more deserving of my comeback this week. Not even John Cena. So two like monumental comebacks for us this week.
Also, 2 Boston comebacks. First time ever on the knocker.
Yeah. Is that you just go to the stats? The Elias Nessel Bureau of Stats here?
Listen, if there's an Elias Nessel Bureau, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
Oh, look. Bertsky says, we didn't even talk about the Hurt Business. You guys, you see that little teaser? We did see that. I specifically texted Josh Bertsky, and I said,
who?
Did anybody else see that? JC, excuse me. And I said, did you see that? Did you see that? It's happening.
I wouldn't have seen it if you didn't say it, because
you fast forward. Yeah, you fast forward.
Well, I was just kind of like in and out. I was like half asleep when I watched some of Raw. So
here's the other thing, right? Here's a little wet appetizer.
Yeah.
What if the Hurt Business reforms to help Bobby Lashley beat the fuck out of Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, that was my hope. Like a couple months ago.
Jesus Christ!
Add Omos and MVP back into it. Give me everything.
Just watch this, right? Each member of the Hurt Business with the big guy, the Sequoia, they pick up each limb from Brock Lesnar and they fucking flip him up in the air and they throw him through a fucking table or something. That'd be fucking awesome. I'd be so excited. I'd be like, put that in my veins and my heart, buddy.
Also, shout out Shelty B, who got a standing ovation on main event this week at the taping because he's a fucking legend, man. Fucking legend.
Here's the thing about him. I'm not taking anything away from him because he's.
Oh, you're about to. I'm about to punch you virtually.
No. I'm just curious. When they gloss over, they're like, he's been here for 20 years and he's clearly been gone for like 6 to 10 of those years. It's just kind of weird to me that they negate it. But whatever. I mean,
well, that's it's one of those things. It's like, here's the thing you have to learn about history, especially when it comes to companies writing their own history. He's the guy who came back and stayed and has always been loyal to the company, so they're going to paint him in a good light. Some people aren't going to be painted in a good light. That's why everything in life, Nestlemania, is always about context. But Shelton's a stud either way. So yeah, no, they're going to ignore those 6 years where they fucked up and they let him go. And they're going to celebrate him for the 20-year run he's had.
Before he just fucking ends, can we just get Ain't No Stopping Me one time?
One time. You got the fucking money, WWE. You're making all sorts of shitty songs. Ain't no stopping me. No. Ain't no stopping me. No stopping me. No stopping me. No stopping.
One of the best theme songs. I'd say top 15 of all time.
One of the highest played songs on my phone, whatever.
When you're working out, when you're showing off your guns just at the gym to the ladies.
Period. That and Maven's theme and Alex Riley's theme, like the top 3 ever for me.
Yep. You would.
Say it to my face.
There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of garbage
rumor he's coming back too.
No, I'll see that when I believe that one.
Well, guess what? We have 15 Rumble hopes each coming up soon.
Oh, I wonder where you're gonna blow
Say
3
it
of
to
them.
My face.
Can't wait. What does he? Bertsky says, "What do you guys think about Charlotte's new theme?" Speaking of, so you were late to the Bertsky. You were late to the podcast. I said it sounded like a cat going in a garbage disposal. It's trash. It's fucking trash. So,
oops.
I thought of an old man was coming out of it.
Below me.
Well, yeah, you did beat me to a JC. So look, is that trash thing going to get a new, is that our new guest spot every single week now? You're going to tell me something's trash?
I mean,
did you dust it? Did you dust it at least?
No, you should have seen all the dust that just came off that fucking thing when I dropped it.
You need to dust your apartment.
It's only that trash can. Why am I going to dust the trash can that I don't use? That's like the one thing I dust. Believe me, I'm a clean freak, as you know. Is that that's probably the dirtiest thing in my apartment because I don't touch it. Yeah, her whole thing. It's one of those things. I believe it was a CFO, and they've been slowly phasing all of them out. The only ones left are like Bianca and the Street Profits, I think, at this point. So
it's this new theme is, like I said, it just sounds like somebody just made it in GarageBand. It makes no fucking sense. So it's just awful. And especially for somebody like her, they should have spent more time and effort on it, but whatever. It is what it is. Micro band that can, JC. Getting cleaning tips from a man who's sick on his couch watching us talk about wrestling. Thanks, Joe. Joe.
Should we finish?
Yes, let's get to the big old finish. We got a lot to talk about.
SmackDown this week, we hit on Usos and Sheamus and Drew for the tag titles. New champs?
No, I would be shocked.
God. Yeah, it'll probably be a good match, but this match should have happened a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, it didn't. Who cares? Rumble qualifier match number 1: Ricochet versus Top Dollar. I mean, I'm assuming this is just to get Ricochet in the Rumble, but
Flop
I'm
Dollar.
kind of excited for Flop Dollar.
I want Flop Dollar to win. I do. I really
so,
do.
Whoa! So I think we've seen a shift here. Is that?
He canceled himself out. Oh well. I don't know what he did. Maybe his internet crapped out. Anyway, yes, Top Dollar. I would love Top Dollar to be in the Royal Rumble. Hell, I don't want him to win it, folks, but I definitely would love to see Top Dollar win this matchup because it would make me laugh very hard. Did you just
error? So I was clicking things quickly on my computer. Well, I hit my you know, you have shortcuts at the top of your browser. I clicked one of those and brought me right off the webpage. But
you jerk.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, I think Nestlemania, he literally cut me off because I was about to say I think Nestlemania is becoming a Top Dollar guy now because usually when things start to shift, it makes it easier to jump to the other side. And Nestle might be doing that. He might be jumping on the ship.
This flip flopper is back on the boat. Yes, I am. If that's what you're
flopping Top Dollar, Nestlemania.
Flip flopper. Yeah, if he's Top Dollar, I'm Flip Flopper. That's what it is, right? That's what it is, folks. Feel free to make that merch.
We'll start with Dynamite because it's tonight. We're recording on Wednesday this week. They have a quote-unquote loaded show. There's only one match that I really care about, and that is Jade Cargill and Red Velvet taking on #Team JC, #Team Blue of Kiera Hogan and Sky Blue. I saw this match, and I was just like, New Year, same JC with this shit, man. Woo-wee! My girls taking on my girl in Red Velvet.
Do you think there's a chance here for well, Jade Cargill can't lose, right?
No, Jade Cargill's winning this match.
But here's the thing.
Kidding me? Do you know how many times she's beaten Sky Blue and how many times she's going to beat Kiera Hogan?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's my plea to Tony Khan because he's a fucking idiot. He has a sinus infection too. So the other thing is he doesn't do countouts. He doesn't do disqualifications. This is the perfect opportunity to let Jade Cargill get upset with Red Velvet because it seemed like there were some problems going on here and have her walk out and fucking lose. But they won't give her a loss because of her stats. That they could here.
They'll tease it. They'll have it look like they're going to lose. And then out of nowhere,
but I just think
Jade will hit the Jaded on fucking Sky Blue.
But I think that's stupid because disqualifications and countouts can be used as a storytelling device, but they don't use them. And I know she can't lose. But God damn it. If she just walked out on Red Velvet, that'd be a cool story. Personally, I think, but
I agree. And that's why this is the match of the week on AEW. The rest of them listed are Swerve Strickland, AR Fox. That'll probably be gymnastical. Bryan Danielson versus Tony Nese in the battle for Nestlemania's heart.
You want me to sell you this one?
Yeah.
It'll be 5 minutes or less, so your pizza's free. I guarantee you this will be stomped in the face and then
Tony Khan, they'll probably open the show with this and it'll go 20 minutes.
No, I don't think so because Max is going to be involved. And I think Max is going to eat up scenery in this. I don't see it happening.
So because I don't want to watch Tony Nese do anything. We also have
season toes.
We have 3 other matches that are actually pretty cool. Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. They've done a pretty nice job with this feud. This should be a interesting match.
I would think that the Jericho gets a big W here. He needs a big W after the action, whatever. His Andretti? Is that his name?
Actually, I know the guy that got all this momentum and they haven't put on TV since. Good job, Tony Khan. Next up, we have for the 15th time, Samoa Joe versus Darby Allin for the TNT title. I mean, if anyone can make Samoa Joe less boring, it's Darby Allin throwing his body around. So I'm fine with it.
I really want Darby Allin to win. I just don't think it's time.
Samoa Joe can't lose that title unless it's Wardlow at this point.
How do you feel about Wardlow cutting his hair?
So I'll say this. That feud was in the dirt, but they revitalized it last week. The shit they did with Wardlow and Samoa Joe was probably the best stuff on AEW last week. It was really good, I thought. And it really sold me. Where I was like, okay, I care. This is what I've been looking for them to do with Wardlow. He's an easy guy to get behind because he's so fucking cool and strong. He's your Braun Strowman. He's not Braun Strowman, but he's the closest thing you'll have. And he's a better wrestler than Braun Strowman.
Exactly. He's super athletic.
Take advantage of it. This guy is fucking money. And when he stops being cheered, he's your biggest heel in your company. So it was like, you know what? Samoa Joe does a lot of things great, and that is one of them is selling you on shit. And they fucking sold me on this feud, and I'm all in. I'm all in.
I
So
just
yeah,
hope
he has to kill Darby. Sorry,
yeah,
Darby.
sorry, Darby's one of my favorites. I do.
Darby's amazing. Ever
just-
since Cody told me like this is one of the next guys, I listened, I watched him, like I believe you. Done.
He's just so different from everything else they do.
Yeah,
he really.
He
is.
was Darby all in. Remember, I called him
true.
all in for like a year.
Yep.
But yeah, then we have one other match. It is for the tag titles. Everybody loves the Acclaimed, but nobody loves Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
So for everybody else that's not Dom, I'm gonna bring this up real quickly because JC and I are on the same page in here. But anybody else that has any hate, please direct your tweets to @DommyFeds33 because he said this and he got pounded in the Jobber Knocker thread.
I almost blocked him.
Yeah, he said that Jeff Jarrett has almost done the same as Jericho when it comes to being relevant, continue to be relevant after his career. And well, the boys weren't so kindly to him. Let's just put it that way. If you agree, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett,
so we say a lot of stupid shit, and I love Dom. Dom's a fucking stud. #Dommy Hot Takes. If you're not following Dom on Twitter, you're a moron because he's one of the most fun, sharpest wrestling minds I think there is out there, and we are thrilled to have him on our team. And we get to talk to him all the time. Dom's the man. But sometimes, when you have that much brilliance, your brilliance works against you and you come up with the dumbest fucking take of all time. And that's what this take was. Because look at, man, Jeff Jarrett isn't even in the same realm of Jericho. They're not even the same stratosphere, same planet, same solar system. And like, I don't need to run through the accolades and all the accomplishments to tell you that. Like, Jeff Jarrett found his way to work himself into this business and have a long career in front of him behind the camera. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. And I was trying to actually gaslight you a little bit, Nestleman, and I brought the Adam Pearce thing because they were trying to sell me as him having all this, like, great thing, being an on-screen character behind the scenes. It's like Adam Pearce is a better version of that and works for WWE. So suck on them apples, Dom. But yeah, get Jeff Jarrett off my fucking TV. Get him out of the fucking everything. You know how many Jeff Jarrett matches I've watched since he's been in AEW, and I will watch since he's been in AEW? 0. The Acclaimed, one of my top 3 things in wrestling right now that I love. I will be fast-forwarding every fucking moment of this because I don't want to watch that geriatric fucking loser who just goes and whines like an old fucking man yelling at a cloud. Shout out The Simpsons. Grandpa Jeff, get the fuck off my TV, you piece of shit.
So I do want to clarify, Dom doesn't like Jeff Jarrett, the wrestler. So please do not send the hate towards Dom for that. Please, if you want to give him a hard time in a good sparing way, please don't be mean.
If you be disrespectful, I will block you. Because
we'll block you because he's our guy. It's like a big brother, little brother thing. We can shit on him, not you. But we love him.
Like I said, when you have that much brilliance, there's a little bit of insanity mixed in, and that's Dom's insanity right there.
Right. So Joe, unfortunately, he is the AEW guy saying, sadly, I have to watch this match, which unfortunately, if you don't want to watch Jeff Jarrett wrestle, just let Joe entertain you.
Do it for you.
Joe will entertain you and talk about all sorts of slap nuts and guitar shots and residuals and talk completely over your head because he's too fucking smart for everybody. But that's beside the point. But Dom, I love you. You know that. You're my boy. But when he said that Jeff Jarrett thing, I almost had an aneurysm.
We literally, everyone in the thread, we just
like
started
shooting
daggers at poor Dom. He's probably sitting there being like, I'm just going to throw this out there because, I had this thought. And then all of a sudden it was just like, bam, 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 bam.
And Ray and I had the exact same understanding. It was like, he started the argument and then he's like, sorry, I got to go do something at work and left. And right out of our both mouths, we're like, of course. He starts a wildfire and leaves. So we have no one to argue with because we're all on the same page except Dom. And I'm just like, Jeff Jarrett did this to our friendship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is some of the most, like, he literally, like, I agree with Joe. He literally dropped a grenade and walked away and blew everything up. Jeff Jarrett, we're talking about in 2023, folks. We're not talking about the wrestler. We're talking about his relevancy. And you can't.
He was relevant for that short time because of Dom. You know what happened? The day changed, and more relevant people like Mercedes, Ospreay, Omega took back the reins how it should be.
Well, we'll find out tonight if there's a receipt or some type of.
You know what? I'm ready for this. I'd rather watch Satnam Singh wrestle 50 matches than watch Jeff Jarrett wrestle 1.
I just want to see. What's his name? I can't even think of his name. My brain is not working. Sanjay Dutt wrestle.
I really do like. Here's the thing. It's like Sanjay Dutt's pretty great. It
Yeah.
sucks that he's with these three fucking morons.
Well,
Honestly,
he loves Jay
I'm not a
Lethal.
Jay Lethal guy at all. I know he's a good wrestler, but he's never really excited me. But when I'm looking at that group and I'm like, holy fuck, is Jay Lethal the second most interesting person in that group? It's just like, that's a problem. But whatever. Tony Khan clearly loves them because they're on TV more than anyone. But I mean,
But Ring of Honor is not overly exposed on any type of television.
I don't even think
whatsoever.
we can call them Ring of Honor anymore. They're like completely detached from it now. It's just they're actually AEW, unfortunately.
I don't know. I just Dom, keep coming up with these things because they excite us and they incite us with so
Dommy
much
big bombs.
Dommy big bombs. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call him. People are gonna think he has big man tits, but I mean, you know, he's got great takes, folks. He's got takes away is what he does. He bombs away on a lot of these things. So Dommy big bombs.
But yeah, that match is happening, and if for some reason the Acclaimed lose to them, I may never watch AEW again. But that's not true because there's a lot of people I love in AEW. But yeah, you get my point.
He calls him nope. It's the job.
ROH Onis. Yeah, that's
There
pretty
you go. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Anything else you want to wrap this shit up?
We'll talk about this more next week, but next week is NXT's New Year's Evil. The card currently is Breaker and Waller for the title. We have a 20 women's battle royal to decide the contender to Roxanne, Indusher and the Creed brothers paying off their lawn feud. We have Regal's son taking on Hank Walker, Captain Generico, and then we have Dijak and D'Angelo finally hooking horns. So a pretty decent card there for New Year's Evil. But like we said, we'll be recording, I think, before that episode next week, so we can talk about it then.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening to the Jobberknocker. We'll be back next week with more Jobberknockery.
I had a dreamer and I made it. I will miss that banner, that's for sure.